All right, Shalom. Shalom. Let's start off by giving all praises, honor, and glorification to our power. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rucha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone who teach well and rule well. And Shalom to the elect, starting with the 144,000, and the great multitude that believe in the words of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. This is the Brother Zakar from the Great Millstone Montreal branch. And this lesson is going to touch on this article that I was reading. Okay. From the Le Journal de Montréal, the Journal of Montreal. Okay, and it's entitled Montreal Police Can Now Monitor You in Real Time Using AI. The police are refusing to disclose the name of the software, which was paid for $1.8 million for the next 5 years. Okay, so we see that we are gradually moving into this NWO, okay, which is going to be a technocratic system. Okay, we're moving into a technocracy. Okay, so I looked up the definition of a technocracy. Okay, it says here, a technocracy is a form of governance or social system where decision-making power is held by technical experts such as scientists, engineers, and economists based on their specialized knowledge and data-driven evidence rather than by elected politicians or public opinions. The term is derived from the Greek words techne, skill or craft, and kratos, power, literally meaning ruled by experts. Okay, so these technocrats basically are going to be at the head of this system, which, of course, they're under the elites that put them in place. Okay, you got Elon Musk. Okay, he has the company Neuralink. Okay, and Tesla, of course. You have Sam Altman. He's at the head of OpenAI. You have Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, which they're partners in the tech company Palantir and other companies, okay, which are all companies of artificial intelligence, okay. So and that's what's going to rule the society, okay, this artificial intelligence, okay, which is going to be controlled by these technocrats who are under the elites, okay. So, you know, and this is all leading to the MOTB, okay. This, you know, all roads lead to the MOTB, okay, which is the CHIP, okay, mentioned in the book of Revelation. Let's get that. The book of Revelation, chapter 13, and I'll start at verse 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast is this system, okay, this NWO that they're putting in place, okay, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay, so if you refuse to submit to the system, well, you're going to be killed. Okay, you're going to be xed out from the society. Okay, I want to get the word killed. It's apoctino, to kill in any way, whatever, to destroy, to allow to perish, metaphorically to extinguish, abolish, to inflict moral death, to deprive of spiritual life, and procure eternal misery in hell. Okay. And the root word is apple. It says of separation. Okay, so you're ultimately going to be separated from the society. Okay, if you refuse to submit to this NWO. Okay, this new technocratic system which is being put in place. Okay, and they're doing this gradually. Okay, now they're letting people know that the police is going to monitor people. Okay, study people in real time using the AI. Okay, and we have to understand that this is a global system. We know that the major judgment and the main focus is in Babylon, which is America. However, this is also a beast system. Okay, the major judgment is going to come upon America. Okay, and that's once again the major focus. But the whole system has to move towards this direction. Okay, Okay, that's why they're telling the people that the police in Montreal is going to start to use the AI to monitor people. Okay, so let's read on in Revelation 13. Okay, so this system is a global system, um, and the beast system consists of nations of the NATO and the EU, which Canada is part of the NATO. Okay, verse 16, it says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, that word mark is the Greek word charagma, meaning something imprinted. Okay, all right, it's going to be something that they put under your skin. Okay, which is um, it's a it's a sign that you've made an alliance or that you're united with this system. Okay, and that charagma, that device that they're gonna put under your skin, is that um micro chip. Okay, that micro chip. Okay, okay, that electronic device. Okay, which you have numerous companies that are working on this technology. I mentioned you have Neuralink, which is headed by Elon Musk. Okay, um, which he was once Trump got elected, he was standing at the right hand side of him. Okay, you have also um, BlackRock Neurotech. Okay, that's another company of BCI's. Okay, brain computer interface. You have a company that is backed by or funded by Jeff Bezos, and Gil Bates. It's called Synchron. Okay, and there's another one called Paradromics. Okay, it's different. It's quite a few companies that are moving towards this technology because that's the new wave. That's where this that's where this world is heading. Okay, and really we're here. Okay, we're here. Okay, things are just being set in place. Okay, they're just trying to normalize this idea of merging men with technology. Okay, they want to merge men, make a fusion between men and technology. Hence, brain computer interface. Okay. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So without this mark, okay, this micro CHIP, you will not be able to buy or sell, which the system is based on consumerism. Okay, in order to function in this society, you have to make transactions, you have to buy, you have to sell. Okay, which America is the number one consuming nation. Okay, consuming nation. So you want to work. Okay, you're gonna have to identify yourself. You're gonna have to have the C hip. You want to travel, you're gonna have to have the C hip. You know, you want to go to the grocery store, you need to have a C hip. Okay, this is where we're being this is where the society is being led to. Okay, and now they're telling you here, okay, that basically that um the AI is going to monitor people. Okay, and the police is gonna use the AI to basically to to basically have an oversight over everyone, man. Okay, let's see, man, what's going on? Okay, and once again, this is all gradualism. Okay, this is all gradualism. Okay, they want to normalize people with this technology, this idea of the technology running the society. Okay, so reading on this article, it says Montreal police are now equipped to analyze real time. Now they're not disclosing which company, the name of the software. It could be Palantir. Okay, I know that the FBI uses Palantir. Okay, you have police enforcement that are using the Palantir. Okay, um, uh, but they're not saying which one it is. Okay, that Montreal is going to use. Okay, it says Montreal police are now equipped to analyze real-time video from dozens of cameras installed throughout the city using artificial intelligence. Our investigative team has discovered. During the summer, the Montreal Police Service (SPVM) acquired powerful video surveillance analysis software integrating AI. Okay, so basically they're going to be able to to see to see who's who. Okay, using biometrics. Okay, they're gonna be able to use facial recognition. Okay, yeah, eventually that's what it's going to come down to. Okay, just like they have in China. Okay, and China is really a testing ground for what they want to bring over here in the West. Okay, mainly in America. Okay, but also here, man, in Canada. Okay, where they have a social people have a social credit score. Okay, everybody's identified. The AI knows everybody. Okay, and they know their patterns, their habits. They know who's who. Okay, it says during the summer, the Montreal Police Service acquired powerful video surveillance analysis software integrating AI. I wish this were science fiction, but more and more police services are turning to this kind of tool. Knows Tamir Israel of the Canadian Civil Liberties Association. Okay, it says in the subsequent media tour, the SPVM highlighted the time and efficiency gains for its investigators who will use it to examine video material after a crime. So the AI is gonna do most of the work, man. Okay, okay. Time and efficiency gains for its investigators. That could mean that some investigators might be laid off, man. Okay. Well, you got robots. You got certain places where robots are actually patrolling. Okay. You know, it says however, the police service wanted to acquire software that was also capable of analyzing 120 live video streams concurrently. You see that? And supporting at least 700 users, according to documents from the tender. Okay, so Esau has a god complex, man. Okay, he wants to be omnipotent. He wants to know everybody's single moves, uh, every in real life, in real time. Okay, you know he wants to study people's habits. He wants to know what you're eating, at what time you're eating. He wants to know who you're with. Okay, this is where we're coming into, man. This is leading to a totalitarian system. Okay, okay. It says AI-powered video surveillance analysis makes it possible, for example, to identify a car in real time by its license plate or a person based on their clothing. Okay. Uh, that they're going technology, but it's only So, I had a quick conversation with the AI. It says, can the use of AI surveillance by the SPVM lead to more control by the authorities? It says yes. The use of AI powered surveillance tools by the SPVM, okay, can absolutely lead to increased control by authorities, both in practice and in perception. Here is how and why this happens in real world context. It says expanded scope and scale of surveillance. Traditional policing relies on human officers and limited camera work networks. AI systems allow near constant monitoring of vastly larger areas and populations with minimal additional personnel. Okay, so it can do more with less. Okay, you set up these different cameras all around the city, and then they'll be able to know everybody's. They'll be able to monitor everybody. Okay, without having to dispatch so many police officers. Ultimately, man, they want to know everything that you do, man, even in your house, even in your home. Okay, but first they got to start with the streets, and but more totalitarian measures are going to be set, and we're going to go into on how they're going to set these measures. Okay, so reading on to preemptive and predictive control. AI predictive policing tools, such as those based on Geolytica, Purple, similar system used in other Canadian cities, flag high-risk people or areas before crimes occur. This often translates into increased police presence, stopping frisks or monitoring of specific individuals or communities. In practice, this creates a feedback loop: more police attention, more recorded incidents. The algorithm marks the area as higher risk, even more policing. It's a self-reinforcing control mechanism. Okay, chilling effect on freedoms. When people know or suspect they are being watched by systems that never blink and can identify them instantly, they self-censor protest activity, political organizing, or even everyday behavior. So people are gonna think twice before having um a a protest. Okay, it says here widespread AI surveillance has been shown internationally to reduce turnout and intensity at protests. See studies on London, New York, and Chinese cities. Okay, it's a lack of oversight and accountability in Quebec. Quebec's Commission d'accès à l'information has criticized the SPVM's use of facial recognition and IMSI catchers in the past, but enforcement is weak. Bill 19 in 2024 in Quebec actually loosened the rules around police use of biometric surveillance in some contexts, giving authorities more latitude rather than less. Okay. It says tools normalization and mission creep. Tools introduced for serious crime or terrorism quickly get used for minor infractions. Okay, Toronto police use Clearview AI for shoplifting cases. SPVM has used facial recognition in missing persons cases, but also in protest policing. Protest policing. Once the infrastructure exists, lowering the threshold for its use is easy and usually happens quickly. Okay, so once again, they're gonna use it as a basically daily. They're gonna use it daily. They use that technology daily for anything. Just for total control. Okay, so uh, yes, AI surveillance by the SPVM objectively increases the state's ability to monitor, predict, and control public behavior. Okay. So next question I asked: in the case of crisis or major event, will this give the authorities more power to control? Yes, absolutely. And this is one of the biggest practical dangers with AI surveillance infrastructure, like the kind SPVM and the broader Quebec Canadian security apparatus is building or already using. So this is it, man. In a crisis or major event, pre-existing AI surveillance systems give authorities dramatically more power to control the population. So it's already set in place. Okay, now the idea is already set. Now, once they use, once an event comes, okay, well, it'll give them more how can I say, give them more power to use to increase the level of surveillance. Okay, you know, it'll give them a reason to increase the control. Okay, that goes back to the tactic of Hegelian dialectic. Okay, pressure from above, pressure from below, problem, reaction, solution. Okay, all right. It says, um, in a crisis or major event, pre-existing AI surveillance systems give authorities dramatically more power to control the population, and they always use it. Here are the concrete mechanism we've already seen. So, what does that brings up? Um, Psalm 64. Okay, Psalm 64. And to have all Israel in perpetual slavery. Okay, verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Okay, as they make their moves, they're moving gradually. Okay, they think that nobody sees them, but Yahweh Bashim Yahushai revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. 2 Corinthians 2:11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, but we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, okay, we are aware uh of his Hegelian tactics, like, the Hegelian dialectic. Okay, verse 6: they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. All right, and they have their counsel. Okay, to think how they're gonna control the people. Okay. Okay. The AI is one of the tools that they're using to and that they're gonna use to control the people. It says instant activation of emergency or exceptional power. So we're back at the conversation with AI. It says once the AI tools, facial recognition, geofencing, cell phone tracking, social media monitoring, automated license plate networks, etc., are in place, authorities can flip them from normal mode to full totalitarian mode in minutes. Real Quebec, Canada examples: the 2022 Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. Okay, it says federal and provincial police use clear AI, cell phone location data, and bank record freezes on an industrial scale. Yeah, because they froze people's accounts, man. Okay, during that time, man. Okay, all right, because people were protesting. Okay, 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 October 2024, pro-Palestinian protests in Montreal. SPVM used live facial recognition, confirmed by Radio Canada reporting, to identify and arrest organizers in real time, something that would have been impossible pre-AI. You see, so the AI is helping them, man. Okay, how much more when the serious crisis come to pass, man? Because they spoke in the WEF about polycrisis, man. Okay, it's gonna be a multitude of crises, man. Okay, one crisis can bring more increase on control, and another one can even intensify, and then another one can, and so on and so forth until they have, you know, people, people abiding to their decrees, man. Their strict decrees, man. Okay, their draconian laws. Okay, Um, it says declaration of crisis. 2, suspension of normal rules. Quebec already has extremely broad emergency laws. They are loi sur la sécurité civile, Federal Emergencies Act 1988, invoked in 2022 during a declared emergency. Police get warrantless use of surveillance tools. It says preemptive arrests based on AI risk scores. You see, so you know that whole credit score system, man. Okay, and this is what this is going to lead to. Okay, the AI systems make these powers infinitely more effective than in the past because identification and tracking are instantaneous and citywide. Okay. It says historical pattern. Crisis tools never go away. Every major crisis in the last 20 years has left permanent new civilian powers. Post 9/11, permanent anti-terrorism laws, CSC mass surveillance. They had the Patriot Act after the 9/11. Okay, they were able to listen to people's conversations. Okay, so a crisis brings more control, more surveillance. Okay, it increases the authorities. Okay. It says in 2010, the G20 Toronto integrated police databases that still exist. C19, cell phone location, tracking, contracts. Quebec used Rogers Telecom data and facial recognition for quarantine enforcement in some provinces. Okay. Okay. You see that? So crises intensifies things, man. 2020, Emergencies Act proved the government can freeze bank accounts of protesters with no court order. Yeah, so after the convoy, okay, there was an Emergencies Act, and they were able to freeze people's accounts, man. Okay, without court order. Okay, Quebec specific risks right now. Marie here. Projet de loi 19 explicitly allows police to keep biometric data longer during exceptional circumstances. Montreal is rolling out hundreds more AI-enabled cameras in the metro and on the street, officially for public safety, but with crisis override clauses. Bottom line, if a major crisis happens tomorrow, okay, it says the SPM and Quebec government will instantly have the technical ability to identify every participant in real time, track their movements for weeks before and after, freeze finances, issue automated fines or arrests. Okay? This level of control was science fiction 15 years ago. It is reality in Montreal today. It just hasn't been used at full scale yet until the next crisis. Okay? So, yes, in a crisis, the authorities will have vastly more power to control the population than they did even 5 years ago, precisely because the AI surveillance infrastructure is already in place and waiting. And they know this, they've studied this. Okay, they've had their secret council, as it says in the book of Psalm 64, okay, to plan, okay, in order to have total control, but they do this gradually. So I ask, so crisis is one of the more useful tools to bring more control. Yes, historically and structurally, crisis are one of the most effective and reliable tools for authorities to expand control, and AI surveillance supercharges that process. Okay, all right. So once again, they're going to use their tactic of problem, reaction, solution. They'll create the problem, wait for the reaction, or influence the reaction in order to bring forth the solution that they had already prepared. Okay. It says this isn't conspiracy theory, it's a well documented political pattern, sometimes called the ratchet effect in civil liberties research. Every major crisis permanently shifts the overtone window on acceptable state power. With that, yeah, because people are begging for a solution. Okay, it says with AI tools already deployed, the next crisis will be the fastest and deepest ratchet in Canadian history. You see that? So the AI is telling you, man. Okay, that's in Canada, but how much more in the States? Okay, because that's where most of the crises are gonna be at, man. Okay, we're talking about famine, pestilence. Okay, um, war, civil wars. Okay, and all sorts of judgment that the Lord has prepared for this wicked place, man. Okay, because so right now we're just going into here in Canada, which is part of the beast system. Okay, well it says here, uh, clear recent Canadian examples. It says post 9/11 2021. Okay, uh, new power introduced, anti-terrorism act, no fly list, CSE, mass surveillance, still in place in 2025. Yes. Okay. I mean, it goes on. Okay. Um, C19 20 to 2022, cell phone location contrast, quarantine apps, facial recognition for mask enforcement, contracts renewed, tools kept. Another thing, they know people's faces due to the telephone that they gave you, okay, and the different apps that you use to take selfies, man. Okay, you got the Snapchat, IG, okay. They know your faces, they know your different reactions, okay. They know everybody that's here, man, in the society, okay. Okay. So it says here, each time the public is scared or angry, politicians and police say we don't have the tools to handle this. Emergency measures are rushed in. 90% of the new powers stay after the crisis ends. How much more when it gets deeper, man? Okay, the scriptures talk about the time of Jacob's trouble, the time of any other time. Okay, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 5. It says, for thus saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask it now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay, it says that the day is great, like none is like, so that none is like it. There's not going to be any time like the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, but who's going to be saved out of it? The elect of the nation of Israel. This is Daniel 12 and verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Okay, once again, talking about the time of Jacob's trouble. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book, the elect. Okay. Okay. It says back to the conversation. It says why AI makes the next crisis different. Speed, a new control measure that used to take months of legislation now takes hours. Okay, so right, because it thinks faster. It acts faster, man. It brings you quick solution. Quick so-called solutions. Scale, instead of monitoring dozens of persons of interest, they can monitor tens of thousands simultaneously. Okay, so that's power, man. Okay, that's the power that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua gave this devil on the left-hand side. Okay, and crises are going to be used to intensify that power, to intensify that control. Okay, permanence. Once the database is built and the cameras are up, removing them is politically impossible. But if we need them next time, you see. So yes, objectively a crisis, or even the perception of one, is the single most useful accelerator for turning potential control into actual control. The infrastructure is already there in Montreal and across Canada, right? That's what they're telling you. Okay, the police in Montreal is going to monitor people okay, through AI surveillance. Okay, it says the next large scale event, whatever it is, will be the moment most of those tools get used at full intensity for the first time, and most of the new rules will stick afterward. Okay. All right. So this is where we're heading to, man. Okay. And this is all the devil coming down having great wrath, knowing he has but a short time. Revelation 12 and 12, man. Okay. He's moving with his plans. Okay. Of NWO. Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Right? He knows his time of rulership is coming to an end. Okay, but he's not gonna go out without a fight. Okay, he's going to fight, man. Okay, and he's gonna use different crises to bring forth his plans of an NWO, man. Okay, but what he doesn't know is that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to fight for his elect, man. Okay, and deliver his elect, man. Okay, okay. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is not going to allow his elect to take a chip. Okay, but he's going to defend his elect. Okay, let's get that. Okay, I verse verse 3. Now the Egyptians are men and not power, right? The Egyptians, speaking of these Edomites, okay, these Babylonians, okay, all right, they're not power, man, okay, and their horses flesh. The horse is flesh and not spirit, right? Their power is fleshly, okay? It's not spiritual like the power of Yahweh Shemiel Shai. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall all fail together. Verse 5. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Shemiel Shai, defend Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. Okay? The Lord is going to the Lord from the west, and the glory from the rising of the sun. And the enemy shall come in like a flood. Yahweh shall lift up the standard against them. Okay? Because when they, once again, you know, during that time of well, for his NWO, he can't have the prophets of Yahweh Shai in the streets, uh, exposing him, revealing him for who he is as the devil. Okay, no, he's gonna have to put an end to that, and there's gonna be persecution against the men of the Lord. Okay, and they're gonna use their AI tools to push forth this persecution. Okay, and when then when he starts gonna try to put hands upon the men of Yahweh Shemiel, the Lord is gonna give divine. He's gonna give divine intervention. Okay, to his elect, man. Okay, so his plans are not gonna go as he wants, man. Okay. Okay. This is Job 20 and verse 23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High Yahweh Shemiel shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Okay, right. So when he thinks he has accomplished his plan of NWO, okay, Yahweh Shemiel is going to intervene, man, put a stop to his madness. Okay, ultimately bring forth destruction upon America, man. Once America falls, which is she's gonna fall by way of nuclear fire and the celestial fire Yahweh Shemiel Shai. Okay, well, that's the end of the Edomite rulership. Okay, so I'm gonna end. Well, verse 24: He shall flee from the iron weapon, which is those nuclear missiles, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. Okay, so I'm gonna end off on that. Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glorification to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rucha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect. Yahweh Bahasham, Shabbat.